Okay, at this time, we'll go ahead and begin our meeting. The meeting is now called to order. The McDowell County Board of Commissioners are in session, and we always begin our meeting with a prayer and a pledge. If everybody would be so kind as to stand at this time, and we'll go ahead and begin our meeting with a prayer. And Commissioner Green will lead us in a prayer.
Let's pray. Father, we come to you humbly as we know how tonight to seek your guidance on the business that's in front of us. Father, we pray that we do the right thing for the citizens of this county. Father, those that are fighting for our freedom, we pray that you protect them and give them victory over our enemy. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Mr. Brown.
Attention, salute, pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Okay, gentlemen, at this time you've got the minutes from the June 12th regular session, the June 30th adjourned session. What's the pleasure of the board concerning the minutes?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve the regular June 12th, the adjourned June 30th. Also need to approve the closed session of the June 29th and the closed session of June 30th.
Okay.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Okay, thank you, gentlemen. At this time, we have the agenda before us. Are there any additions or deletions to our agenda tonight? There being none, what's the pleasure of the board?
We approve.
Second.
Okay, discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. Okay, let's move to our first item on our agenda appointment schedule. This is the NCACC Youth Summit attendee, and Mr. Wooten, go ahead, sir, and lead us out.
Yes, sir. Every year, the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners has a conference, and probably Chad may remember about 5 or 6 years ago, they started a youth summit as part of that, 6 years. And so they will invite young people from across the state to come in and come on Friday, and they learn about county government, learn about issues, and really it's a leadership experience for young people. And we've been blessed. Will be our third year to have an A1 young person that will represent McDowell County. And that would be Adam Miller. And so Chad can talk a little bit about what the program will look like and introduce Adam.
Thank you, Mr. Wooten. Like Mr. Wooten was saying, this become a partnership between 4-H Girls Boys Club across North Carolina and the county commissioners. One youth is selected from each county, or there's one spot for each county. They go down on the Friday of the meeting. They'll have time to learn about how budgets are made. There's budget exercises, there's leadership, team building exercises, and then they have the chance to go to breakfast with their commissioners to discuss issues, youth issues of the county, get to know the commissioners, and start building those relationships. What Mr. Wood said, this is the third straight year we've been lucky enough to select one. This year is Adam Miller. Adam's been involved in 4-H 8 years since he was 7, 8 years old, going to camps, doing different things with our NEBO group. Now he's at the high school. He's part of our shooting program. Great all-around kid. Both his parents grew up in McDowell County, so he's a great representation of the county. But one of their stipulations to go to this is they come to the county commissioner meeting, introduce themselves, and talk to you guys, answer questions, that kind of thing. So,
like you said, my name's Adam Miller, and I'm 16. I do go to McDowell High School, and like he also said, I've been involved in 4-H for 8 years now. I did start in the club at Nebo School, and did that till about 4th grade, and on up to went up to East. And after all summer, I did the summer discovery program, did the shooting sports, went to camp for 4-H camp for 4 or 5 years now. My last year I went to 4-H camp. I did the LIT, which is Leaders in Training, and you work with the counselors down there, and you help with the counselors with the kids. Like if they play games, you help them with the games all week. And let's see,
Yeah, that's good. That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do y'all have any questions for Mr. Adams?
What's your weapon of choice to shoot?
I mostly like shotgun because bigger target to hit. And I can probably hit that better than a little target about that big. But yeah, I mostly like shotgun and pistol, but I like rifle too. But I don't shoot much archery, so my favorite three right there. But
Adam's never been a fan of bow and arrow.
yeah.
And you really, how has 4-H helped? You've been in the program 8 years now, and I think 4-H is a great program. Chad does a wonderful job in his capacity with the kids in McDowell County who are involved in that program. Thanks, Chad, we appreciate you. How has that helped Adam mold you, make you, or what have you learned? What's the thing you take away most from being in 4-H?
Mostly good leadership skills. I mean, now in the world you need good leadership skills and good talking skills to talk to people. Say you go to a job interview, you need good talking skills to talk to that person about how you want that job and stuff. Well, a few years ago we went to it's more of like a leadership and a talking to people camp, and they teach you. There's one class where they teach you how to tie ties and do kind of stuff like that to help you out in the world. And I think that's more about what 4-H has done to me and like other kids in this program. Is help them in leadership and talking to people.
Could you tie a tie before you went to that?
Oh, no.
Can you tie my tie?
I know some years back, it seemed like the 4-H kind of faded into the sunset a little bit, and I think due to guys like Chad and some others that have really spawned an interest in it, it's got stronger today and probably than it has been in a long time. Do you have either one of you have any numbers on how it is?
Here in McDowell County, currently in McDowell County, we have approximately 150 enrolled club members. That's people that are in our horse club, livestock group, shooting sports. We have a club at PG, a club at West Marion Elementary, and then we have an at-large club. And we have approximately 150 active members. But then in the summer, we have kids come in for our one-day summer programs. And then with our school enrichment stuff, we reach about 1,500 to 2,000 kids a year. So in total that have 4-H programs throughout the year is 2,500 to 3,000.
Wow.
That's based off about 9,000 youth. That's roughly a third of the youth in McDowell County. At some point, have some 4-H. We've had a very busy summer already, just kind of update you on summer. Last time I came to the meeting, I was talking about our 3 representatives for McDowell County that was on the North Carolina 4-H shooting sports team. They went to Grand Isle, Nebraska 2 weeks ago. We actually had a national champion that wasn't even close. Garrett Peters finished first in the nation. Micah Sisk was in shotgun, finished 30th in the nation, and Becca Bryan and recurve archery finished 12th. They were all top for North Carolina and all top 25% for the nation, so they're doing great. Our horse group was in Raleigh all last week, showing the state 4-H show. We had 2 state champions there. Our livestock group is going to Raleigh next week for their state livestock judging contest, and we're expecting at least 1 state champion team from them also. So McDowell County is well represented here in the district, the state, and even on a national level.
And we've had some of our local guys to win state contests.
Oh, yeah.
So that's pretty impressive. And we could also probably look for Adam to be a leader one of these days.
And Adam came to us when he was 8 years old. He had a lot of energy. And I really like the kids that come that have personality and they're interjecting, bouncy, and 4-H, and we just fit perfect. We kept him entertained this summer. I think his mom appreciated that. And, I always really like taking Adam. I've taken Adam all over North Carolina, and actually the Southeast. We've had a good time. So now that he's starting to mature, he's starting to get in the leadership roles, giving back to the younger kids. He's helped me with our younger kids. And so this is what 4-H is about, is developing tomorrow's leaders. And Adam's an excellent example of that.
So he's had the honor of riding the, what's the nickname for the?
Clifford.
Clifford. He's got to ride in Clifford quite a bit, right?
He's rode Clifford
I rode shotgun.
thousands of
Yeah.
miles.
Explain to everybody who's in the room what Clifford is.
Our big red extension van that sits in the EMS parking lot. I started in 2005. I've been there about 5 years, and I was quickly told the name of the van was Clifford for the big red dog, the big red van. So It's known throughout the state. I was taking kids to camp 3 weeks ago, and a 4-H'er passed me in Winston-Salem and called and asked if I was going to Raleigh because they just passed us and they'd seen us on 40 and wanted to know where we were going. So,
What's the new one gonna be, Clifford
we
2?
were talking about that today. That Clifford 2.0, Junior, JC for Junior Clifford or CJ for Clifford Junior. So I was talking to kids about that today. We're debating that today, so we'll get something good.
All right, any other comments or questions for Adam?
If we could get a picture.
Yes, we're gonna do that right now.
Let's get it.
Come on, guys.
Thanks, sir. That'll come right here. You can
You're right here in the middle. You got
It's all right.
They gotta make you look.
No, go ahead. Here, give it right here.
There you
Shift this way
Yeah.
back.
Where you take it to the space, that's a lot of area.
I do like this.
You got 48 inches, take it up over here.
Take one more.
I heard about the big deer and that. Better make it bigger than that.
Barrett. Careful, Tom.
You'll get over back there.
Okay, I'm good.
Remember that vein?
One more.
Mom better get one, yeah.
All right, I'm good. Thank you,
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thanks.
We'll see y'all with Matthew. Derby.
All right, that's one thing that I think is great having Adam with us tonight. It goes to show you that the youth of McDowell County, we've got great youth and they're working hard and they're going to be our future. They're the future of our county, and we look forward to what they're going to do as they continue their education and continue to work hard. Let's move to item B on our appointment schedule, gentlemen. We have the Red Cross with us tonight, representatives from the Red Cross. So we're so glad to have you here, and we appreciate the work you do, not just in the blood drive, but in times of disaster and emergency. So who's going to be doing the speaking? We have Alli. Alli, come on up and then introduce and bring your group forward, okay?
First of all, I'm so honored to be here. Thank you so much for commemorating this for us, and you are fantastic. And Terry, who's your facilities maintenance guy, he's amazing, just so you know. We did a little bit of improvement to the space that you guys so generously donate, and he was the nicest, just most accommodating. So I wanted to be sure to recognize him for that, and also you. But do you guys want to introduce yourselves?
I'm Sandee Wheeler, some of you already know me, and I do the disaster action team. It's my part of Red Cross.
And I'm Mary McCoyle, and I do blood.
And anything else?
And everything else.
I'm Ann Brendle, I work in the office, and I do the bloodmobile.
The Ragaz, and I do the bloodmobile
How long have you been with the Red Cross?
since 1943.
Wow.
But with the bloodmobile, 62 years.
And my name is Nancy, and I came to Marion in 2010, but I'm a third-generation Red Cross lady. Grandma in 1917, mother in 43, and I had my own chapter in Massachusetts in 78. And this is the best city ever.
We agree with that. We're glad to have you.
So I'm kind of new. I started in December, and it is true. I am in charge of falling in love with 16 westernmost counties. This one got my heart immediately because you can tell why. I speak for the Red Cross. I do some legal stuff. I represent in the news, but this is the mission of the Red Cross. These women and the other volunteers here in this community deliver our mission here, and we are neighbors helping neighbors. So a lot of changes happened with us over the past 10 years, and that got confusing. And some people thought maybe locally we weren't around, but I don't think that happened in McDowell County because of these people and Bonnie and all the other amazing volunteers. And so my heart is just overwhelmingly grateful. I love knowing them, and it is such an honor to come and work with them. Thank you so much for the space that you allow us to have here. That is a great gift to us and a great help in the relationship that we're allowed to have, with county and city and emergency management. McDowell County just is, you guys are among the favorites. That's the way I can get away with saying that. But there's such dedication here. And we have a beautiful mission. The Red Cross alleviates human suffering, and we do that in a number of ways. A lot of that is preparedness. A lot of that's coming in and educating, and smoke alarms, and working with veterans, all those kinds of things. And so what I really want, besides celebrating and honoring these wonderful women and, our other volunteers who aren't here, is to make sure that you understand that the Red Cross is here. We're not going anywhere. And when you need something, and what we do, the language is, and probably for you guys too a little bit, but not if, but when. When whatever it is happens, we're here for you. And I am here for you. You can reach out directly to me. Part of my role actually is working with local and city governments. And so when things are going on, it will be me that you are working with, and Rebecca, our disaster manager, will be working through our volunteers here to work things out, to hopefully just be as much presence here as we can. And so we're very, very grateful to you and for your support, and I am so grateful for you ladies, and thank you very much. And we want a picture as well. So.
Oh, yes, we got something for y'all too. Any other comments, questions about board members?
You guys have pulled over 2 gallons out of me over the years. And I recognize some of your faces.
We have a huge appeal out right now. We'll pull just a little bit more if you let us. So, yeah, thank you so much for that. I know a lot of you are blood donors and support us in many ways. So we could not do what we do. Again, we are just neighbors helping neighbors. So.
And I can't give blood, but my husband lived 2 years longer, thanks to Red Cross blood donations.
That's great. Well, that's great. Well, in honor of the 100th year, we've got a resolution our board does that we're going to read and present to you, and then we'll do the group picture, okay?
Okay.
All right, so I'll just come out. Let's see. Ready? Pull in, guys. So we're ready for pictures. All right, ladies. Whereas the American Red Cross of McDowell County is celebrating 100 years of service. You got 74 of those in 100 years. Whereas the Red Cross plays a vital humanitarian role in McDowell County as it organizes caring members of the community to donate their time, talent, money, and blood to help ease suffering and to save lives in our county, state, nation, and world. Whereas a vital part of the Red Cross mission is to provide preparedness training to encourage people to be prepared for the unexpected. Whereas the Red Cross provides training in CPR, water safety, sheltering, and first aid, giving McDowell County residents the confidence and skills to respond to life-threatening emergencies. Whereas the Red Cross saves lives every day as it collects blood and platelets for those who need it most. Whereas the Red Cross provides 24-hour support to all members of the military, veterans, and their families, including a vital worldwide communications link to their families and loved ones back home. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the McDowell County Board of Commissioners declared July as American Red Cross Month in McDowell County, North Carolina. Signed this 10th day of July 2017 by Chair David Walker. So we want to give y'all a hand. Give him a hand. Come on, guys, let's get y'all in here so we give them.
Should I give you my phone? Or sure. Okay.
Come here,
I'll
ladies.
make it easier. Give me in the front.
All right, now, let's do this. You hold that since you got 74 years of service, okay?
Smile. Okay, I'm gonna make. That might have been, I might want to check that out. It might have been on. Like this tomorrow. Is that right?
Oh, that's if you were going to do the. It's great. Thank you. Thank you
Okay,
so much.
ladies, thank you so much for all you do. Thank you so much. Good to have y'all. Good to see you, young lady. Good to see you. How you doing? Okay, gentlemen, this time let's go ahead and move to item A under old business board appointments. We have a second reading tonight on the meter board, and you've got the ballot sheet in front of you to go ahead and choose. There's two that we're voting for. Also, the focal point committee, second reading, and you may vote for two of these also. And our clerk will tally the votes.
Okay, the vote is unanimous for Jeffrey Judd and Harold Walker for the meter board, and Fred Devine and Diane Saccone on the focal point advisory committee. And Mr. Chairman, if you'll also address.
Right. Commissioner Crawford serves on the Transportation Advisory Committee, made up of elected and appointed officials with the isothermal RPO, so he needs to be reappointed. First of all, do you want to be reappointed?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Do I have a motion to go ahead and reappoint him?
Make a motion.
Second.
Discussion, all those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. Now, next item, we need to designate a voting delegate to the NCACC annual conference to be held in Durham. Who's going?
Make a motion that Matthew represent.
Okay.
Second.
Discussion, all those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. Okay, gentlemen, let's move to item B under old business. This will be the shooting range update. Mr. Wood, go ahead, sir, and lead us out.
Yes, sir. A very brief update, but this is one of the projects we definitely want to keep in the public consciousness. We have a meeting set up this Wednesday with representatives of NC Wildlife just to visit the site, get an update on where it stands, any concerns they have, any to-do list kind of things, and there's things with the access road and permitting and all kinds of things that will need to take place eventually, but just to have an understanding where they are and what we can do to help. So there is a great deal of communication between staff and NC Wildlife, and with Senator Heiss's office especially helped out quite a bit. So a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff, but we want to make sure we bring it out here so everyone knows we're still working on it, and we'll keep it on the agenda until we cut a ribbon.
And that's a good way to put it, till we cut a ribbon, because this board has a strong desire to see this shooting range become a reality for the people of McDowell County and surrounding counties to come in and utilize also. And we do have the members of the board that will make that decision, phone numbers, email addresses that we can provide to any board member who wants to start calling. I think it might be good to go ahead and let those board members know that we strongly, even though we've done it through resolution and through our staff, Heiss and Dobson's people in Raleigh, we still need to move and we need to keep the pressure on to make this happen. Okay? No other comments or questions about the shooting range? There being none, let's move to the Stacy Hill Road water line. Item C under our old business. Go ahead, Mr. Wooten.
Yes, sir. Another brief update. I mentioned last month that we have more time to work on this than we were originally told. We were originally told we would have to have about 1.5 mile water line done by December, which was almost nearly impossible, but we were going to try the impossible. We were granted an additional 6 or 7 months, which we would definitely need and we appreciate. So right now we are working through the permitting. There's 4 or 5 different permitting agencies that will need to look at it, especially since there's federal funding. And so we're waiting on some of the comments. You have a couple of them in your packet, and they've no comment, positive comments or what have you. We're waiting on a few others before we can proceed with bidding. We would like to bid in August and hopefully get that project underway in the fall. And again, it would probably be a 4 to 5 month construction process. There is a creek crossing, but otherwise it's fairly straightforward. But as we move forward, we'll definitely be sharing information with residents so they can know what to expect. So we'll definitely be talking about this one more.
Okay, comments or questions? There being none, sounds positive. This board always, at every meeting, we need to be discussing water going in the ground, lines in the ground. Let's move to item number A, tax matters under new business. Mr. Wooten, go ahead and lead us out, sir.
These are fairly routine. We do have page 44 in your packet. We do have some late elderly exemptions. There's 6 of them. They're Connor, Hoover, Rumfelt, Francis, Dalton, and Ash. And these are folks that were not aware of the June 1st deadline for elderly exemption, and staff would recommend that they be approved with the other releases, rebills, and refunds.
Okay, gentlemen, comments, questions? What's the pleasure of the board?
I'll make a motion to approve the release.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. Okay, this time let's move to our appointment schedule, item C. This is the overview of charter services. Mr. Wooten, lead us out, sir. We do have Michael.
Tank, forget the C.
Tank, okay. Didn't want to say it incorrectly. So if you'll lead us out, Ashley,
Yes,
then
sir.
Michael will turn it over to you and you come to the podium, sir, okay?
We had talked, we've talked a lot about broadband service. We've not had on the agenda probably in a couple of months, but this board has been very supportive, and the organization has been supportive of improving broadband availability in the county. And so for many years, through the county leadership, chamber leadership, other agencies in the county, we've met with providers, we've met with people that are interested in being providers, and just different groups in how to expand broadband availability for the county. It's an economic development tool. It's a necessity a lot of times for educational system, and it's a quality of life issue as well, and we recognize that. And so what we thought we would do is have folks, and we're not compelling them to come, but thankfully they will gladly come, like Mr. Tank, but invite the folks that are current providers to come in and talk about the services they have now, maybe dispel some myths about what's available now, and talk about some of the challenges they see in expanding the service and maybe some opportunities for partnership and doing some expansions. So I did pass out sort of a hand-drawn service area map that was done several years ago by the Broadband Committee, just so you have a rough idea where charter services are. And for those that can't see it, it's primarily the Old Fort. It is kind of hard to see, but I have one that's about that big on my computer, but it's roughly the area around Old Fort, along US 70, Marion, and then the 221 North Corridor. It's primarily Charter's area. And then Morris Broadband has quite a bit of the balance of the county, Glenwood, Nebo, and other areas. And so they have been invited as well, and I think we'll be here next month. But again, other providers in the county will be invited, and just an opportunity to receive information and maybe move forward with some plans and partnerships. So, that's all.
Well, good evening or good afternoon. My name is Mike Tank. I'm the Director of Government Relations for Charter Communications. I'm based in Charlotte, but I kind of cover the central western portion of North Carolina for Charter. As you may be familiar with, about a year or so ago, Charter merged with Time Warner Cable and Bright House Network. We became the second largest cable operator in the country. And so that had some impact on the way that we are doing business and moving forward. This area has always been a charter system, and so you've kind of had a good deal with being broadband for quite a while and being all digital for quite a while. When I was talking with the county manager, what he asked me to do is come and talk, maybe primarily, from what I understood, about how we look at the expansion into the rural areas. Where we already have service, that's kind of a little bit of a given. We do provide digital video, we provide phone services, we provide broadband internet services, speeds of 60 by 5, 60 down and 5 up. That handles the vast majority of everyday business, or excuse me, everyday residential type services. As we talk about broadband, we certainly understand the need of why residents, and primarily right now I'm going to be talking about residential services. We can talk about business services, and that's a kind of a different animal, but primarily I'm talking, I think what you're interested in is your residential areas.
Exactly.
We understand the needs and the desires for them to have it, because as the world's been changing, I was kind of surprised when I was watching the news and they were saying the iPhones just came out 10 years ago. It seems like they've been around much longer. And so you can see how quickly the world of the digital era has changed. And we know all that's being impacted with broadband, internet services, and so on. Not only just the video aspect of it and the cable TV where we first started out, but also the broadband is really expanding. As a fact that we have company-wide, don't know the numbers here, but company-wide, we have more broadband customers than we do have video customers. So that's one of our leading services that we do offer. We know the need for them, for customers from an educational standpoint. We know schools are moving more into an online and for homework and those type of things. There's online businesses, the remote medical access, online shopping, business commerce, telecommuting from work and from home. All those factors are why folks are interested in expanding broadband. Those are nothing that we're not familiar with and that we deal with all the time. So as we look at expanding into rural areas, what we need to do is to make sure that we, as a business, are making smart and intelligent decisions from a business standpoint, for our company and for our shareholders. So a big portion of what we do is look at the economic factors. Let me touch real quickly on business and then I'll jump back into the residential aspect. When we talk about providing services to businesses, we look at that a little differently than residential. It will be based upon how far away from our existing plant the business would be located, what level of services, how big of a pipe do they want, what length of a contract they're willing to sign, installation costs, some of those things. So if somebody's wanting a direct fiber feed, we hear about 1 gig, but if a business is wanting 10 gigs, 100 gigs, we can provide it. It's not going to be free, but we can provide it, and there will be a cost about that. So from a business standpoint, we'll have a group that will go out and sit down with them and look at whatever their needs might be and then come up with some prices for that. From a residential aspect, we continuously look at areas of service. And when you look at an area of service, we really look at it from a cost versus return standpoint, just like any business person would do. When you go out and you build a mile of network plant out there, you have to have a certain amount of passings or customers or potential subscribers to be able to make it, to get a return on your investment. So those are some of the big factors we look at. When you're out in a rural area such as this, the homes are a little farther apart than maybe in a metropolitan area or even in a downtown area such as this. The construction cost is generally higher because if you look at the rockiness of the terrain, you look at how you have to build it, whether there's an existing pole line, whether there's not an existing pole line. Is there room on the poles to be able to make your attachments? And I heard you earlier talking about wanting to expand your water and sewer systems. Well, when you look at expanding a cable service or a cable network, there's an analogy that's similar, because you can't just go from the end of your water line and extend it. You have to go back, look to make sure you got enough water pressure and flow to be able to cover that next distance. So you got to go back, look for that proper tie point. We have to do that as well. So if you look at where the end of a line is, well, we may have kind of already extended that about as far as we could to get to those couple of rural folks. If we're going to go that extra half mile or a mile or whatever it might be, we may have to go back a mile or two to get to a point to be able to generate enough signal, overlash fiber or whatever we need to do to get the signal downstream far enough so that we can build from there. So somebody may look at it and say, oh, well, they're just a quarter mile down the street from my house. Yeah, but we have to build 4 or 5 miles to get the proper signal levels and get the signal up to there so that the signal is proper to give you what the expectations were. So we have to look at that. There are many factors, not only in the density, but that we have to look at. Some of those include other things that we have to cross. I heard one time you were talking about having to cross a stream. Crossing streams, creeks, rivers is tougher, especially if you're having to go underground. You have to get the proper permits from Department of Natural Resources to do those type of things. If there's railroad crossings, any highways, maybe easy, but if we're going to have to cross over I-40 to get someplace, it's not going to be an easy road crossing. It's very expensive to do. So we look at these things, looking at it from a capital standpoint. We also budget these things, and I'm sure that if you guys are familiar with your budgeting, you plan what you're going to do for the year. If something might pop up that's unexpected, if you don't have the funds, you can't necessarily do it right away, but you can put it in your planning process. So we certainly want to and encourage folks, and I know that the county manager has gotten me 1 or 2 projects to look at. We are happy to go out and look at projects and say, would that make sense for us to go do? We'll go out and do a site survey, look at it, and if it does it, we'll go ahead and get it rolling. Hopefully we'll have the funds to be able to do it right away. If not, we'll put it in the planning process. If it doesn't meet the criteria and doesn't pass the muster, we will then put it on a list that we will look at year after year to see if things change. Have there been new homes? Have there been new subscribers popped up? Potential new customers? Is there something else that's going on with the cost factor that could adjust it? But we're happy to go do that and encourage folks to let us know so we can go out and take a look at that. We understand that the world is changing and the need for broadband is out there. We would love nothing more than to provide everybody with service. Our business is providing service. We're not in the business of not providing service, but we have to do it in a feasible and economical way. It is expensive to do it. It's not inexpensive. So as we look at this, we have to do it from a very good standpoint to make sure it makes sense from our company, from a business standpoint, to go forward. We're happy to talk to folks, and we know that in the conversations that are going on in all levels of government, and it can be at the national, if you've been hearing about the president talking about his national infrastructure plans, Congress is talking about some things. FCC is looking at the expansion into the broadband, into rural broadband. This past year in Raleigh, in the last session, there were a couple bills discussing those. Charter is at the table on these and in talking and involved in that conversation. Exactly where they're going to go, boy, if we all had that crystal ball, we could do a lot of good things. But we just don't know. But those are things that could come in to make an impact on what the cost of expansion is, and we're happy to be a participant at the table. If there's a project that we want to do that doesn't quite meet our numbers, we're happy to talk with a third party or a customer with some potential capital support to bring the cost down to make it more economically feasible. I know there are some other counties and that are doing some capital contributions. I believe I'm going to be working with the NC Broadband office and attending some meetings with them later this week, and I think there's a couple other counties in the northern area that is trying to create some funding to help the expansion of broadband to make it a little more feasible. So we're open to those type of conversations, and we're open to working with you and your folks to see how we can expand. We're trying to expand as much as we can, but again, it's expensive, and we have to do it in a logical way. So with that, I'm happy to entertain questions, comments.
Is there a certain number of households that you require for charter to begin the process to look and see if it's feasible to run?
To look at, no. To make it go, that's a tough question. Let me give you kind of a couple of examples. If there was a house, or if there was a street that was just nice, flat, former farm field with a nice pole line there, and there's 10 houses sitting there, and we could do an easy, quick run, that's one thing. The cost is significantly lower. If we're going up into more of a mountainous area where the hills are, or the houses are back on a couple hundred feet off the road and a rocky driveway going up there, those numbers are significantly higher and tougher to do. To put those, to give you a number that works for both of those, it really wouldn't.
See, I don't understand. Duke Power ran the telephone pole there. There's not a citizen in our county that doesn't have power.
Mhm.
I take this, I represent everybody in this county, not this little area right here.
Understand?
They may live in rural area, but they're no different than the people that live right in the middle of the city. So was Charter at the table on the bill that was in this past General Assembly that didn't pass, where you supported counties, giving the counties the ability to put in the infrastructure and then bid it out? Were y'all in agreement with that, or did you fight that?
We were not in opposition.
Okay.
Were we supporting it? I won't say we were on that side of the ledger, but we were not in opposition.
We've got to, my goal is I got to figure out a way to get internet service to everybody.
Fully understand, when you talk about the Duke, I'm not an expert in that area at all, but I do believe that their capital cost is based upon ratepayer, and when they go out and spend all their money, it's divided amongst their entire rate base to get expanded out there. We are not in that same economic structure. Our money is, what we spend is what we put out of our pocket, and we've got to get it from our subscribers. Where Duke gets it by, they file rates to the utility commission, and they say, we need to get an increase of X amount of dollars because here's our capital cost for this past year and so on. And so that's how they're allowed, and it helps them to go into those rural areas because it's guaranteed rate of return. We don't have that.
So there's a line, we use the example, Nicks Creek Road, Sugar Hill, Timber Road, that's the phone call that I got. They've got residents on that road. I don't know how many homes are out there?
Oh,
10?
20.
20 homes.
Mhm.
They can't get any help at all. I don't know how many. I said, basically what you need to do is probably run house to house. You've lived there for years.
At least in that area.
And ask how many people, they need the service. I haven't heard back from him in the last little bit, and I will probably call him tonight to see if he's got the legwork done. I put a little legwork on him, instead of having to do all of it. They want it. Let's see how bad they want it.
Little skin in the game, sure.
Yeah, and which, I'm willing to stick a neck out there for them to an extent, saying, hey, we can fight, but if there's only one of you, absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, on the main road, it just doesn't, and that road's gravel's pretty good shape out there. And of course, like you say, you can't attach it to power lines, don't have to be in the ground, correct?
We can attach the power line if there is room on the poles. There's national electrical safety codes
Right.
that we have to make sure that we're so far away, we have proper
Right.
clearance, all those fun things that go into factor. Otherwise, they may have to set poles, that's an increased cost, or it might be cheaper to go underground.
But you are willing to go out there and do site visit and look?
Absolutely.
I know we've got Sugar Hill, the fire chief from Sugar Hill has talked to our board numerous times. That whole area, people want to have the internet to their residences, but it's and there's, you talk about hills and we're in McDowell County, we're a mountainous county.
Mhm.
And I get what you're saying, you've got to do it within the money you have. But we would appreciate, because we advocate for our people, and our people, we've got in our school system now, the kids they have the Chromebooks, and they have to come into town to do their homework or go to somebody where they can get signal.
Right.
And if the school system's going to require and give these Chromebooks out, these kids need to have an avenue to be able to do their homework. And
I'm least able when they call me and say, listen, I'm a county commissioner and I can't get internet. So I feel you.
Mhm.
I understand the business side of it, but I understand my heart wants all our citizens to have everything they want.
We would love to provide it to everybody as well, but we got to find that balance.
The balance would be in your customer base, though.
Mhm.
You're collecting your money from your customers. If you got 5 customers what if you had 10 out of 20? I'm going to use Timber Road as an example again. To me, you're going to, that's over half of the residents on that road. I understand if it's one, you can't financially. But, they're paying a premium for, satellite internet.
Yeah, that's what I'm on.
Well, now Morris Broadband was running wire out in Sugar Hill the other day. So they're
Wow.
Great.
So maybe
they're going on the poles.
If I could, I don't want to put Mike on the spot necessarily.
Please do.
But one of the challenges that we have seen in the broadband committee and others is that there are these pockets where Morris was Mediacom, but Morris now and Charter, they could kind of wave at each other, but they weren't close enough to make sure that gap or whatever was met. Is there communication? And I know you're fairly new to this area, but do you know if there's communication with your colleagues to say, okay, this is closer to you guys, why don't you take this one, vice versa? Because I feel like there's kind of a no man's land a lot of times where nobody wants to take that initiative because of the, no one wants to go first, maybe. I don't know.
To be brutally honest with you, we don't have those conversations. And the main reason is it's an economic driver. If it makes sense for them to economically do it, they're going to go ahead and do it. If it makes sense for us to do it, we're going to go ahead and do it. We're not going to say, oh, we'll give you this because we like you guys or whatever. It's business.
First come, first serve.
Driven. And you mentioned I'm kind of new to this area, but I should have led off with this. I've been in the cable industry over 35 years now. I've been in North Carolina now for about 12 years, in doing mainly the Charlotte, 12 counties around that area, coming up this way. So it's not the same, I know. I used to manage down in Florida and Indiana and those type of areas, so I'm familiar with. Southern Indiana is very rural. I live there. I actually went to school down there. So I'm a little bit of a Hoosier from that standpoint. But I am familiar with our industry. I'm familiar with the different factors that go into this.
And when you get west of Hickory, it's totally different.
It's
You can forget it.
Understand.
Okay, Mr. Tank, we appreciate you being here tonight, and we've got to move on. We're about 5 minutes behind schedule now. So.
Let me say one more thing. I know that you have the broadband committee. I am happy to work and sit down and chat with those guys on offline meetings, and we can have more conversations. If there are things going on at the state level that you want to get an input, we're happy to talk with you that way. And if there are projects like the ones that you're talking about, please give them to your manager, and I'm happy to work with him and move forward that way.
Okay, thanks so much for being here and answering questions tonight.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Okay, at this time we'll move to item D. This is concerning the fire protection ordinance proposal. So Mr. Wooten, go right ahead, sir. And we have Mr. Keller with us tonight and Mr. Walker.
I'll let them do most of the talking, but this is something that you've heard about previously, and I think maybe the October meeting, maybe it was broached a little bit, and they've been busy in between. There have been some discussions at the planning board meetings, and Mr. Harmon is here. But this is something that was identified as a need by the fire commission, which again is made up of the fire chiefs in the county. And so they approached staff with the request, and again, they're bringing the request forward for this ordinance for you to look at and consider, and if you're willing to send it to the planning board for review, comment, etc. So it's okay.
Okay.
Turn it over to.
Appreciate the opportunity to come before you again tonight regarding the fire protection ordinance. Director R1 or someone from our office attends the monthly fire commission meetings, the second Thursday of every month where the fire chiefs meet. And during last year's historic wildfire season, we really identified a need, one, to have an officially designated fire marshal's office in McDowell County. It's listed at the state, but as far as the process at the county level, we had never went through that. Two is the ability for the fire marshal's office to declare a burn ban within 100 feet of a structure when critical fire conditions exist. North Carolina Forest Service has statutory authority to declare a burning ban outside that 100 feet of a structure. And then three is an avenue to address illegal burning. This is a issue for the fire departments going out and asking folks nicely to please extinguish an illegal burn, whether you have trash, burning materials, tires. We had a case recently within the last 4 to 6 weeks, probably one of the worst cases Craig or I either one had seen. We've always taken a conservative approach to ask the citizen to extinguish the illegal burn, so forth. Deputy Director Walker done that on this occasion, and then within 24 hours they were dumping another dump truck load of building material and causing a hazard in this community. That's an example of a case that needs to be dealt with by a civil citation. He nicely tried to address this in an informal matter and just flagrant violation and continue to dump to where we had to get state folks involved to issue the violations. So those are the basic needs of the ordinance. Our office has always had and will continue to have a conservative approach when dealing with citizens. Most of this is educational part, but we're requesting this be sent to the plan board for consideration because we need we need some teeth in the illegal burn ordinance specifically. And hopefully we don't get into another historic wildfire season, but give clarity to the burning ban.
Okay, comments or questions?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Illegal burning, is it not covered under North Carolina general statutes?
It is covered under North Carolina general statute, but specifically to enforce that at this point, we're going to the state office through, I call them DENR, but it's air quality. But this would allow, much like the false alarm ordinance that we did, it would allow there to be civil citations issued at the county level as well. The problem that we've had is it's a prolonged process to get the situation resolved if we're using the state office simply because the resources are taxed.
And I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I'm just trying to get a clear mind of what's going on. But in the general statutes, does it list burning such material as a misdemeanor?
Craig, you want to refer to that?
The closest general statute on that, majority of them revert back to what we're doing here as a local ordinance. The closest general statute you can use for illegal burn is where a fire official has went out, warned that person, whether it be an illegal burn, a nuisance burn, or a hazardous burn. You can find them folks after that initial warning of a certain amount. But as far as illegal burns that go back to the local level that can be used by general statute, that is basically put on local ordinance for local ordinance to put that in place.
I'm going to do some research on my own, but I just think,
Okay.
and I may be wrong, but I think that if it's covered under general statute, any sworn law enforcement officer can enforce that law.
Yeah, that is correct, if it's under general statute, but what they're saying is as far as specific illegal burn.
I'm going back to my deputy days.
Okay, all right.
What you guys are really wanting here is a county marshal, basically. Is that correct?
Go ahead.
Just the authority.
Yeah, so at the state level, the EM office is already referred to or listed as the county fire marshal's office. This draft ordinance was drafted in conjunction with the input from the Fire Commission as well as Sheriff Green to ensure that all parties were in consensus or in agreement with this draft ordinance. But to have the fire ordinance be enforced, it does relate back to the fire marshal's office that we need officially declared.
You need something with some teeth in it, so you know you've got somebody with the authority to do that.
Yeah, we just need to essentially clean it up and make the process formal.
The only thing that I don't want to see personally, because, you'll see some teeth come back out of the public, is if your volunteer fireman goes to people's houses, and that can happen. This can't be turned loose with everyone in every department. There has to be
the civil citations, the way the draft is written, would either be issued by the emergency management office, which would be the fire marshal's office,
Okay.
or the sheriff's department, either one. And we did that because a deputy that runs into this at 3 a.m. in the morning, it doesn't make sense for Craig to be called out in the middle of the night to issue that when the
I agree
deputy
with
could.
But some of your departments would have to do a referral if they respond to a
Yeah, and the,
smoke or something of the house, that they would say, hey, this is illegal burn. They would have to be able to do something.
Yeah, and they should.
the departments have been very good in doing that, but I think there is some frustration because there are multiple calls for service at the same location,
Needs to be taken.
day in and day out for illegal burning. And
Yeah, my only point was that, I don't want to give a badge to every volunteer fireman. That's
the
what
draft ordinance would cover, would refer it back to the fire marshal's office and the sheriff's department.
Right.
And/or.
And you don't have to say a name. The issue you had before, was that a local contractor? You can say yes or no, you prefer not to say.
Business.
Okay. And reason being is because this may be something where with the committee, they have a home builders association, right?
Exactly.
With contractors involved and stuff, it may be something good to meet with them and go over that if they have issue, I mean, you see what I mean? Because sometimes it's always good to keep them.
This specific issue could have been dealt with if they would have adhered to the warning, the verbal warning, but it became a flagrant.
Obey the law and do what you're supposed to, you're not going to get in trouble.
Exactly.
Okay, Jim, any other questions? We'll go ahead and take action. What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion that we send the fire protection ordinance to the planning
I
commission.
second.
Discussion, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. Okay, let's move to our next item on our appointment schedule. This is our 6 o'clock appointment, and,
He's not done.
yeah, he's here for the next appointment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right, now,
Could we give just a couple minutes to get some guests in?
let's take a brief recess. Go ahead. Okay, William, is everybody in?
Yeah, I think we're ready.
All right, great. Well, welcome, everyone. We're here tonight under this item on our appointment schedule to celebrate 40 years of EMS service to McDowell County. And Mr. Keller, before you lead out, I'll just say from our board, we appreciate the excellent job that our staff does day in, day out. We appreciate the medical support and the leadership we have from the medical community here present in this room. We appreciate Mission Hospital present here in the room also tonight. So with that being said, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, County Manager, Madam Clerk, and colleagues, it's an honor to stand before you tonight and celebrate the 40th anniversary of McDowell County EMS. Before I begin, I'd like to take the opportunity to recognize a number of special guests that we've invited to celebrate this special occasion with us. In no particular order, I'm going to start from McDowell Hospital, the CEO, Carol Wolfenberger, VP, Kathy Hefner, the ED Director, Angie Pettis, from the North Carolina Office of EMS, Assistant Chief Chuck Lewis, an instrumental part of developing the McDowell system from the state level for many years since I've been at the agency. The agency's first medical director, Dr. Gerald McIntyre, who is a pioneer. Our great friends from Mission Hospital, who has assisted us in developing world-class care for heart attack patients, specifically the system of care that goes on 24 hours a day to ensure heart attack patients coming from McDowell are met by a cath lab team at Mission to restore and save precious heart muscle. The coordinator of that program, Angela Salisbury, is here. Angela, thanks for coming. A man that I admire and have great admiration for. He personally kept my grandfather alive for many, many years. Dr. William Maddox, who has been absolute top-notch, biggest supporter from Asheville and McDowell EMS. Dr. Maddox, thanks for coming. I don't know if it's his official title, but I would say he's the chief cardiologist at Mission, and it would fit well. Our current medical director is Dr. Edward St. Bernard, who has been with McDowell EMS since 2002. Worked at our agency as a paramedic, a field training officer, and an officer within the agency, or a leadership officer. Went to PA school. Really sad to see him go when he left, but we welcomed him back with open arms. Physician assistant, Mr. Steve Wilkerson. He currently serves as the Assistant Medical Director for the EMS system. Ms. Penny Cross is here, Dr. Penny Cross from McDowell Tech. Her and her family, she has supported us in a professional role at McDowell Tech, but her and her family have supported EMS tremendously, even doing a cookout for EMS personnel for EMS Week. Just huge supporters of EMS, and we thank them. My good friend, retired chief of the Office of EMS and a huge advocate for EMS at the state and federal level. She's been retired, I think, over a year now and has done tremendous work in supporting and advancing McDowell EMS's community paramedic program at the state and national level. Retired Chief Regina Gadet Crawford. Thank you for that. Got Mr. Nick Bird from the Health Coalition. Appreciate, we're going to be talking to you after this on a new project, hopefully with our community paramedics. These two were here when it all started, and certainly pioneers of EMS. They're here with their wives, and certainly want to thank them for the many, many years of support they give. Retired Captain Mr. Barry Bailey. Retired Major John Angeli, both of those. Barry's wife Brenda and John's wife Deborah. John retired, Barry and John both retired, 30 years of service, and have plenty of history to share as we celebrate 40 years. I would say Captain Bailey's, there's an article out in the McDowell News this evening on Captain Bailey's reflection on some of the history of EMS. Some of our current leadership staff is also joining us tonight, and I want to thank these folks. Each day, my goal is to surround myself with smart people, and that's what this group represents here, and it's an honor to serve with them. Lieutenant Andrew Presley, Sergeant Courtney Setzer of the Community Paramedic Division, Lieutenant Chad Robinson, the Community Care Coordinator, Lieutenant Jason McKinney, Captain Donnie Tipton, Captain Adrian Jones, Lieutenant Brenda Agreda, Captain Marvin Hancock, Steve Hancock, our Logistics Officer, Sergeant John C. Parker, our Administrative Officer, and Angie Wright from the EM Division. This team works tirelessly day in and day out. Back in 1975, it all began with a vision for improved emergency medical care for the citizens and visitors of McDowell County. On July 1st, 1977, McDowell EMS responded to its first call for service to a motor vehicle crash on Old US 70 and Cheneytown Road. And Captain Bailey was on that first call, and that call was referenced in the article this evening. In the late 70s, or since that time, McDowell EMS has continued to grow and improve the level of care provided to county citizens. In the late 70s, McDowell EMS was the fifth paramedic agency, or the fifth agency in North Carolina to provide paramedic level service. Since that time, the agency has become known throughout North Carolina as a leader in rural pre-hospital care. Multiple innovative programs have received state and national attention, including therapeutic hypothermia care, the EMS culture of safety change, and the Rural Community Care Paramedic Program. In 2008, McDowell EMS was among 100 agencies in the nation providing therapeutic hypothermia care to post-cardiac arrest patients. The Community Care Paramedic Program, implemented by McDowell EMS in partnership with the Cape B. Reynolds Charitable Trust, was the first rural community care program in North Carolina. The success of McDowell EMS is directly related to the unwavering commitment of its employees on a daily basis, local emergency personnel from the volunteer fire departments, McDowell Rescue, law enforcement, other local and state agencies, physicians, county administration, political leaders, and the community as a whole. I want to extend a special thank you to the team members from various departments who play an integral role in the daily mission of EMS. And this essentially is a team. These are the people that work behind the scenes to keep the operation running. Our medics are on the front line, but we've got people behind the scenes that I want to recognize tonight, starting in the finance department, the finance director, Ms. Allison Bell. Have her step in. She's carrying food. All right. From facility or public works, Mr. Randall Thomas and Robert. Robert, I forgot your last name, and I apologize. English, Robert English. These gentlemen work on EMS vehicles daily and are the reason that we continue to be on the road day in and day out. The HR division, as well as facility maintenance. These are the folks behind the scenes that often don't get credit, but these folks are required to keep the system moving. Today in McDowell County, from the top of Catawba Falls to the flats of US 64 and all the areas in between, you're going to find world-class care delivered by professional telecommunicators, first responders, and paramedics. World-class care is not confined to urban areas.
Right.
McDowell EMS, over the years, of 40 years, has proven world-class care can take place in a rural county. This team of professionals dedicate themselves to ensuring the McDowell EMS motto of commitment, compassion, and service is carried out each and every day. The motto is what drives the organization daily, and the basic concept of caring for patients like we would care for our family continues to ensure we meet the high expectations of our patients. In closing, I want to first thank the pioneers of EMS in McDowell County, some of which are present here today. Your vision laid the foundation for this great service to thrive. Countless lives have been saved as a result of your vision and perseverance. To our county and state leaders, I say thank you for your unwavering support of our department and our vision as we further advance McDowell EMS. To our local hospital partners, thank you for your continued support. To our partners in Asheville, we say thank you as well. To our current staff and leadership team, it's an honor and privilege to serve alongside you each and every day. These employees represent the best of the best. They amaze me each and every day with their skills and compassion for the patients and the families that we encounter. Healthcare is rapidly changing, but I'm happy to report to this Board of Commissioners on the 40th anniversary, McDowell EMS is well positioned for the many changes that will lie ahead in the coming years. And with that, I would like to ask a few individuals if they would like to make a few brief comments, starting first with our first medical director, Dr. Gerald McIntyre.
You didn't tell me you were going to.
That was the plan.
When I first came to McDowell County, started to practice in 1974, I was at the emergency room about 2 in the morning, I think, after delivering a baby, and the ambulance rolled up, one of the funeral homes. The driver jumped out. He was dressed impeccably with a suit and tie, opened the back door and looked in, and he said, well, he was alive when I started with him, but he was by himself, the patient was, and I had already had some training and had worked in emergency medicine in training before coming, and I knew we had to have an EMS system. The only thing that I would say is that we put a lot of prayer energy and other energy into it, and if you listen to your director there, he used the word compassion several times. We founded this EMS service on a system of compassion, caring, and the best possible care based on medical practice. So it continues to flourish that way. It was built, I think, on solid principles, and I'm delighted that it's continued, and I'm delighted that all the people who have been saved and have suffered less because of a competent EMS system. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Dr. St. Bernard.
I don't like talking a lot, but I'm forced to, I presume. One thing I want to say is that I came into the system because Dr. McIntyre was leaving, and so it kind of fell into, my lap. But what I have found as I have been in the system is that you have a group of people who are completely dedicated to what they do. They understand what it takes. Sometimes we have pushed them a little harder than they would like, but they understand what it takes to become a very competent, good group, and they have done that throughout. I think that such ability was only possible because of the cooperation from everybody else. It's all the other services, the ancillary services that have been working together, the management and leadership within the group that has shown its ability to think forward and to always try to look for opportunities to improve the group. And we also look at the ones who supply the finances, that if it were not for you guys and the support that you give, that we would not be able to advance as we have advanced. And I think the continuing support of everybody is needed in order to make this what it is.
Dr. Maddox?
Dressed up really nice, sorry. Dr. McIntyre, Dr. Ellis, and there are other docs in this community that you say we helped y'all build a program. Y'all actually taught me how to practice, taught me how to show compassion, taught me how to be late to see the patients. And I greatly respect the physicians that have worked with me over the years, taught me over the years. And I really mean that. I mean, I'm indebted to them. It has changed my entire life. In terms of the paramedic program, again, we didn't do it. Y'all did it long before us. But more importantly is the very first program to divert, so to speak, to move acute infarcts directly to our cath lab, not stopping in the local emergency room, turned out to be exactly what we ended up recommending as time went by. You save 30 minutes to an hour. And in a heart attack, 30 minutes to an hour is a lot. The paramedics here make the diagnosis based on what they're told by the patient and by the EKG. And it sounds easy. It's not easy. In fact, I was talking to the cath lab today. I was in the cath lab today. And I mentioned McDowell County, and he said, well, that's great, because those people are always right. Well, you can't always be right, but it is dramatic in terms of the life-saving benefit. Hypothermia. I remember complaints from McDowell County EMS because they would drop them in IER, and we didn't have hypothermia. They had already started the cooling. That's a very important system. Again, when a person has a cardiac arrest, if you can cool them, and we have to decide where to cool them, and that's changing. But if you can cool them down, cool their brain down, their survival level is dramatically different. And I personally follow probably 5 or 6 who came in, cooled by them, cardiac arrest, heart attack, and I still take care of them. They're fine. Including one patient who, by the way, decided to drive to Mission. He decided to drive, but his wife was with him. And he had his cardiac arrest on the driveway coming up into the parking lot. And his wife was able to slam on the brake. She then literally ran, I don't know how she did it, ran up the hill to where you park, found another paramedic vehicle there, told them that her husband had arrested, and they went back down, resuscitated the man, and I still see him today. I can go on, and I won't. But I just want to express my great respect for you, for the county EMS, for the doctors who've talked, and for all we've learned. It's been huge. I'm a little angry that you took some of our managers involved in that here, but we won't go into that. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you, sir. The CEO of McDowell Hospital, Carol Wolfenberger, would you like to say anything?
When I first arrived in McDowell County, I was incognito. I was hunting for a home, and I came in. We decided to eat lunch at Fat's Cafeteria, and you know, you're kind of scoping things out. Nobody knows who you are. There's a whole table of EMS personnel enjoying lunch, and you know, I'm debating, am I going to introduce myself? But it wasn't 5 minutes later, they got a call, and they were out the door. So my first impression was pretty phenomenal at the organization, the swift movement. They were grabbing a bite to eat, but they literally were on their way. And what I've experienced is exactly what you described, William. It's world class. Might be a small community, but it doesn't change the delivery of care in your county. And so I congratulate you for what you have built, for the legacy that you have inherited. It's phenomenal. And we appreciate our partnership with you.
Thank you, Carol. Assistant Chief of OEMS, Mr. Chuck Lewis.
So I've
first became familiar with McDowell EMS in 2004 when I came to work for the office. Before that, I'm embarrassed to say I probably couldn't have found McDowell County on the map. But over the years, I've been fortunate enough to be able to be involved with McDowell EMS and see some of the growth and some of the things that they've done. And one of the things that's always impressed me about McDowell is the leadership. I learned early on that an agency tends to take on the attitude of its leaders. And without a good, strong leadership and without a good, strong leadership core, an agency does tend to flounder. And McDowell has been extremely fortunate. When I first came to know McDowell and be involved here, Mr. Hemphill was the director, and then William moved into that role later on. And the growth has just been expansive, and we've just seen so many great things come out of McDowell County. And again, like William said earlier, you don't have to be in a metropolitan area to have world-class care. You know, we hear all the time about the Wake counties and the Mecklenburg counties and the Forsyth counties and those larger systems, but you put those guys head to head, and McDowell really outshines in a lot of different areas. Patient satisfaction, employee satisfaction, and without the employees, this system would not be what it is. So we congratulate McDowell on 40 years of service. Look forward to working with them for another 40 years, and we're excited to see what McDowell does going forward.
A couple more, and then we've got a presentation we'd like to make very quickly. Retired OEMS Chief Regina Gadet Crawford.
Thank you, William. Thank you, Board of Commissioners. Thank all of you for being here tonight. I was honored that William called me and asked me if I would come and be here to celebrate your 40 years. I second some of the comments, Dr. Maddox, Chuck Lewis, and some of the things you're saying. Again, everything starts local, and it is about what you're doing here locally. I think the leadership is outstanding. I'll say that. I've said it in Raleigh. I've taken it to DC, and I'll say it anywhere else. William, I think your leadership sets the precedent. But I think the people in this room, you people, especially all of you that work and you're out there on the trucks every day, your dedication, your compassion, your commitment is outstanding. I don't care where you go, you hear about McDowell County. When I go to DC and I'm on the halls of the federal legislators, they're saying, well, how does this work in a rural county? Community paramedicine is great. It's been done in urban counties forever, but for a rural county like McDowell to take it and run with it, it's phenomenal. And that's what I get asked, whether I'm in Raleigh or I'm in DC. How do I make this work in a rural county? It's phenomenal. I think William wants to take it to another level. We've talked about some of that. I think that's great. He's being funded again, second round of funding from the state, thanks to Chuck and Tom Mitchell at the state level. But keep doing what you're doing. I think the compassion, and again, whatever you're doing, it takes a partnership. They can't do it without all of you. You can't do it without your legislators in Raleigh and at the federal level. So we have to educate them. And that's something that's really always been an issue for me as the previous chief of OEMS. EMS has always been very low on you know, they're not needed unless someone has a heart attack. And it's much more than that, because they can do so much more than that. It's a lot more than 911. And community paramedicine has opened the door and allowed the expansion of what EMS can do. And I think we have to do a great job, and I think you're doing that, William, is educating all of you, educating our Raleigh legislators at the state level and at the federal level. They are understanding more and more that we're not just 911, and that's huge. So I think hats off, congratulations on your 40 years. To all of you, I think you're doing a phenomenal job. Keep it up, and I'd like to see where it goes. So thank you.
We'll recognize the two retirees. I left off Deputy Director Craig Walker off the list. I think that's the second event I've done this in a row. Just superb leader and really a great operations manager that serves day in and day out. And Rochelle Bailey from the Sheriff's Office, who's responsible for our mini-series that is coming out this week and highlighting the stories past and present from EMS. Thank you for being here. Captain Bailey, Major Angley, any thoughts from you guys?
I can tell you that if we hadn't had the support of everybody in the county, from the people, and when we first started working here in the first days, people thought we was going to take them to the funeral home because we was driving hearses, and they kept saying, "I'm not dead, don't take me to the funeral." And you think that's a story, but it's true. But anyway, we graduated from that and went on and got other things going. And thanks to Dr. McIntyre and hospitals and stuff, we got more and more things going. Had we not, these people wouldn't be where they're at today. But I'm proud to do that. And I think it was all for the grace of God that we did it.
If it had, also, if it hadn't been for our first director, he was hard on us, but he had to be to do it, but he was a visionary. He pushed us, and like it's been said, when we first started, there was 15 people, 5 per shift. At the end of that first day, there was 14.
Yeah.
One left, and then there was 14 people, but there were 6 EMTs and the rest of us had assortments of first aid cards. We took our EMT in 1 month. All passed. We started our paramedic program in October. We all passed. Part of us was turned loose in November of '78, part of us was turned loose in December '79. But the thing about it was that we had a visionary, along with Dr. McIntyre and the Board of Commissioners at the time, and our director was a visionary that saw a need and something for this county, and he brought together a group of people that, as you said, had the compassion for us to get out there and do it. And that's all we ever did it for, was compassion. We thought of the people of the county. I mean, other counties, a lot of people say, why don't you go to work for such and such county? I don't want to. I want to stay home. Mm-hmm. And that's why I tell them the reason I stay here is because I want to work here. I pulled 30 years. I never regretted a day of it. And I love, it's just a hard thing to say, but I love my work because I was taking care of people.
And I want to give these 2 gentlemen a round of applause. 30 years in EMS is a long, long time.
I had 31.
31.
This is, if your family don't back up what you're doing, you ain't
Absolutely.
going to do what you need to do.
And I want to recognize Darren, Captain Bailey, and Brenda's son that's here as well. He's a law enforcement officer, and appreciate him being here as well. So thank you. At this time, in closing, our agency, through donated funds, was able to have a commemorative 40th anniversary coin that we'd like to present the board, each member of the Board of Commissioners, County Manager, Madam Clerk, and to the folks in the audience. And this is a token of appreciation from the EMS system for the support that you give on a daily basis. And on the front side of the coin, it certainly has the American flag that we are proud to fly.
Amen.
Star of Life, 1977 and 2017, with 40 years. And on the back, I think one of the most important things is our motto, Commitment, Compassion, and Service, celebrating 40 years of excellence. So on behalf of the staff of EMS, each member of our staff received one of these. But on behalf of our staff, we present this coin to you in recognition of the many, many employees, friends, family, doctors, community leaders that have come before us that laid the foundation for us to continue today. So with that, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, William.
And I'll make my time. I'll make my time.
You're all right. We got a presentation to make too, William. Don't anybody go anywhere. Okay, it's been an honor to hear some of the stories tonight and to see the people who actually started the EMS program in McDowell County, the lives that have been saved, the families that have got to see their loved one again because of the excellent care that's been provided by this group. Our hats are off. We can't say enough good things about our EMS staff and the support that they get from the hospital and the external groups. It's just amazing what is being done. When we're the only rural county that's doing the paramedicine in North Carolina, there's a reason why, because of the staff you've got. And one of 100 in the nation doing a therapeutic, the doctor has stated it. It saves lives. It saves lives every day. And William and to your staff, we're just so honored to have you in the capacities and the jobs that you do is just amazing. And we support you 110%. This board has always stood with the EMS program, and this board will always stand with our EMS program and back you guys up and give you men and women what you need to be highly successful, because it's all about our people and making sure the citizens of McDowell County have the best care. And it's already been stated, a metropolitan area, that's great. They've got tremendous and great care there. But in a rural county, we can have the same thing here, and we've got it here. And we appreciate the work you do. And I want our board to stand and give y'all a standing ovation right now for what y'all do. And then And then in honor of your 40th year anniversary of being an organization, the board has a resolution that I want to read to you, William, and then present on behalf of the board. This resolution is recognizing McDowell County EMS for 40 years of excellent service. Whereas the McDowell County Board of Commissioners established the McDowell County Emergency Medical Service Department on July 1, 1977. Due to a desire to provide enhanced services for the people of McDowell County. And whereas the professionalism and leadership of McDowell EMS was evident early on, with the agency being the 5th in North Carolina to provide paramedic level of care. That's amazing. I'm going to stop right here. 5th in the state. A rural county is the 5th in the state to provide this kind of service. Whereas McDowell EMS has been a leader in the area of community paramedicine by being the first rural county in North Carolina to provide that service. And whereas the agency has initiated other innovative areas of care, such as the Advanced Airway Management Program, STEMI System of Care, Cardiac Arrest Care, and the Disaster Medical Program. And whereas McDowell EMS has been a leader, and I'll emphasize leader in our state, in implementing employee wellness and safety, which has decreased workplace injuries and missed work time tremendously. Now therefore be it resolved that the McDowell County Board of Commissioners do hereby recognize McDowell EMS for their 40 years of providing professional, I emphasize the word professional, emergency medical care to the people of McDowell County. Thank you.
Thank you.
William, I've told you this before, but I watched you grow up, and I don't know a young man anywhere that has made the strides that you have to take over the EMS system and build it to where it is today. I've had the opportunity of being with some of these guys when we had to pull babies out of ponds that had drowned, men and women that had committed suicide, murders, car accidents. I've been right there with you. And I'd put your team against anybody, not in the United States, but anywhere in the world. I had the opportunity to be with William when we were working the lake one summer. I believe it was July the 4th. William was on the boat with me when I was a deputy. We got a call that an accident had happened. We went from Benfield's Landing to Black Bear Marina in a short period of time. William immediately made the diagnosis and saved the guy's life. If there's a man in the house with a gun and you want me to go get him, I'll go get him, but don't expect me to keep him alive. I'm not cut out like you are. I appreciate everything you guys do.
I appreciate those comments, and I'm going to deflect to this entire group right here because this system is running because of this team that stands behind me here and the folks that came before. And it's an honor and privilege to serve in this capacity and get to serve in your home county with these folks serving with you alongside.
We appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
Commissioner Brown, anything you want to add?
I think William pretty much already knows how much I think of him and support him, and all of you guys, I've known for years, you know, Marvin, you know, you guys, I just, I appreciate you guys, and I've seen a lot of love and caring and come out of your hearts. It's not just about the job. It's the love and compassion that they have, and this is taught, I'm sure, but in a sense, but a lot of it is just it's within them. You know, it comes with them, and that's just a benefit we get when we get these kind of guys, ladies and gentlemen, that come in and work for us, the EMS program. We thank you. Our hat is off to you. Our hair is off to you. We really do appreciate all the good work that you, William, and everybody that is involved does for us. Thank you very much.
Commissioner McPeters came up through your organization, so I'm sure he has.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Can you turn his microphone off?
I'm going to be brief, believe that or not. Yeah, no. I was sitting here 4 years ago, a month, it would be a month, I left McDowell County EMS with 26 years of service. One of the hardest things I ever did, because I raised 5 kids. Through that service, you know, I look out and see John train me, Barry Bailey, you know, as partners, we were the killer bees. We ran some calls that's unbelievable. And made me who I am today. When I started teaching at the high school, those kids, you know, they can, and I tell them, I said, I'm going to give you my 110% of me. I want to make you the best because of this right here. And it's emotional for me. Watching William, Greg and I talked some tales a while ago, you know, we won't discuss that in an open forum, about how we trained him. But, you know, the day that he became director, I was very proud to see that somebody I watched, just like Lynn did, grow up from a young boy carrying a scanner on his hip at the ball field, wanting to know what this 10 whatever was. And I'm like, man, get away from me, you know. But that was compassion. That was compassion at, 14, 15 years old. And to see this organization, you know, 40 years, and I spent, like I say, I spent 26 years of my life there. And I love you. That's all I can say.
Okay, Mr. Crawford?
William, EMS has been great. I look forward to the next 40 years. The plan that you've brought us about new stations, lower response time, shows that you're continuing wanting to improve. A story I can tell you is when I left the county to go work at another county on a fire call, I run a medic call for a pretty bad patient, and I said, this patient needs such and such. And the paramedic said, we don't do that. I said, you need to. McDowell County was doing it. Appreciate each and everything that everyone does.
Okay, William, we need to get a picture. So we need
Get
to
our
come up,
staff.
and our board and whoever else you want to come up.
How about we go there?
Our staff and retirees and medical directors.
Okay?
Mayor White ain't gonna end with them?
How are you?
That's fine. Go ahead. I want to use the bathroom.
Come on up there with us, Jason. Your call was.
I mean, I'm up and I'm still.
I remember a second that
Come on.
No, I'll be in the back.
1, 2, 3, cheese, fries.
Brown say banana pudding. Won't do
Okay, all right, everybody, let's move to our next item on the agenda. We have a appointment F. This is the Workforce Wellness Program update. We have Nick Bird with us, Mr. Keller, Sergo, and lead us out on this.
So me and Nick's going to kind of tag team this.
Okay.
Nick's 50,000 foot on this project is part of the Health Coalition and Committee on Workforce Wellness. We came to the table. There's a number of collaborative partners there, the Chamber of Commerce, the school system, McDowell Tech, a number of the industries. But we were identified as a potential partner in the workforce wellness to provide health services or health screenings at area industries. And through this innovative program, which is believed to be, according to the Chamber, one of the first in the nation to kind of tap into community paramedicine and link it into industrial workforce wellness, the proposal is, and we're seeking permission to proceed with grant applications. Isothermal Regional Commission would be the main applicant for the 50,000 foot project, which entails the Health Coalition and a number of other partners, but would link in to contract with us one community care paramedic. The grant is proposed for 3 years, which would work in the different industrial sites. Behind the scenes during the 3 years, they would, Isothermal and Nick and other team members would build a sustainable business plan for this model. Of course, there would be data collection during the actual program to see if there's return on investment for the industrial sites, which certainly this could be used as an economic development tool, improve health and wellness within the community, and also allows us to extend our reach from the community paramedic division at EMS. So there's 2 grants that we would be a part of, Isothermal primarily being the main applicant through Kate B. Reynolds Trust, and then McDowell EMS or McDowell County being the main applicant to the Cannon Foundation, which would seek to purchase capital assets for the 3rd community care paramedic, which would be vehicle, health equipment or paramedic level equipment that would be required to be stocked on that vehicle. I think it's important to understand this would be a grant for 3 years. Unless there's a sustainable business plan, the paramedic division would really not have any means to continue after that grant cycle. But I think I'm very comfortable with the plan that is being proposed behind the scenes to sustain it. But certainly we need to prove it first. And the first step is our agency requested permission to proceed forward with this. It's Kate B. Reynolds has been a huge supporter and funder of the community paramedic program. They're at the table with this project as well, and it would be an arm and an extension of what we're doing. And I think there again, appreciate them reaching out to us. It allows us to become even more innovative with the program and expand its reach in the county. With that, Nick or I, either one will take any questions.
Okay, gentlemen, questions, comments?
Roll in.
Okay, I will entertain a motion this time.
Motion to give support to apply for the grant.
Discussion, all in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. Okay, thanks, guys, appreciate you.
Thank you.
Is it okay if William mentions the event Saturday?
Yes, go ahead, William, make sure to do that.
Yeah, our public event celebrating the 40th anniversary will be held this Saturday, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. in the parking lot of Rose's Shopping Center on North Main Street. We're We're working with a number of agencies, or all the fire departments, rescue squad, law enforcement's been invited to display vehicles and equipment. Mama, the Mercy helicopter will land at 9:30 in the shopping center. Official remarks to begin at 10:30, and certainly would like to extend our invitation to the public as well as the board, where we'd like to recognize you at that event as well.
Okay, great. We look forward to it.
I think I'm over time.
You're fine. You take all the time you need. That was
He's talking about
well
overtime.
worth every
You
minute.
use time off tomorrow.
We'll see you tomorrow, will you?
All right.
Okay.
Much.
Thank you so much. At this time, we have one more, brief recess. Okay, after a brief recess, the Board of Commissioners are back in session. At this time, we have item G on our appointment schedule. This is our time we give the citizens a chance to comment. Any other reports, communications? There being none, what's the pleasure of the board?
Motion adjourned.
Discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.